Now, the head of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, says the ongoing Middle East conflict has dented the economy of Gaza by 80% and that of the West Bank by some 50%, even as the contagious effect of the Israel-Hamas war has spread to the Red Sea and the North African region. The IMF chief was speaking at the ongoing World Government Summit in the UAE. Let's listen.
We have looked into the impact on Gaza and West Bank, on the economies of Palestine, and it is horrendous. Gaza, the economy shrunk by 80%. West Bank, it shrunk by 22%. And for the Middle East, North Africa region, we just downgraded our projections from October by 0.5 percentage point. Growth is affected in this part of the world. What has not happened is to have massive spillovers for the rest of the world. Yes, what is happening in the Suez Canal is creating a bit of anxiety because it affects supplies, and we got really allergic to supply chain disruptions.
Do you fear?
But not majorly.
Do you fear? I mean, if you look, okay, so you've got the actual conflict itself, you've got the spillover effects for Jordan, for Egypt, and for the region, and you've got, if you will, the Suez Canal and the sea. Where do you fear most that things could get out of control?
Well, I fear most of a longevity of the conflict because it goes on and on. The risk of spillovers go up. And right now we see a risk of spillover from the Suez Canal. But if there are other unintended consequences in terms of where the fighting goes, then it can become much more problematic for the world as a whole. So as a woman, as a mother, as a grandmother, I pray for peace, for the people that are affected, and for the security of all of us.
All right, now, if, to inelegantly turn, if I may, there's a lot of talk about AI. It's the great panacea. It's going to be magnificent. It's going to lead us all to the future. So why did the IMF come out with a report just before Davos, which basically said, hang on, not so fast. 40% of all jobs are going to be affected in some way. The developed world is going to improve in its benefits, and the developing world is screwed.
So let me caveat a bit what you just said. What we presented in our report is the following. The shift to artificial intelligence is going to be like the Industrial Revolution in terms of scale and significance of impact, affecting 40% of jobs. Either completely new jobs come, or jobs get enhanced, or jobs disappear. This is like a tsunami hitting the labor market. And then we ask a question, are we ready? And what our report says, some countries, among them United Arab Emirates, the Saudis, some countries are ready, but majority of nations, and it is primarily developing nations, are not. How do we look at readiness? We look at 4 things. First, digital infrastructure. Well, we all know that Africa, only half of the population has access to the internet. Second, skills and labor market mobility. Again, you look at parts of the world where investment in education is not only insufficient, but the pandemic put education back. 3, we looked at innovation, how much countries invest in research and development. And 4th, regulation and ethics. Across the board, more advanced economies are in a better position. Poor countries are not. Let me say, what a fantastic foresight the Emirates had to establish Ministry for Artificial Intelligence in 2017, when most of the world was completely asleep on the switch.
All right, oh, hang on, not so fast. Not so fast. What do they need to do now?
Well, what they would need to do now is bring the rest of the world with you. And being a generous nation, invest in emerging markets, in developing economies, to help them leapfrog. If we get more nations ready to benefit from this technology, but also manage its negative potential consequences, misinformation, disinformation, the more we do for others, the better off you also will be.
But which is the greater risk? Is it the economic issues, jobs, restructuring of industries, or the misinformation and disinformation, or am I making a false parallel?
You are touching on the two greatest risks if we don't approach artificial intelligence responsibly. The first is indeed not benefiting from artificial intelligence to lift up everybody. More inequality, if it comes from it, would be devastating for our future. Both more inequality within countries and inequality across countries. And then you have the potential of artificial intelligence to create a parallel universe of lies and misconceptions. And again, we have to act responsibly. So let me change my message to UAE. Lead the world in responsible, humanity-serving adoption of artificial intelligence.